Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Are We Clear Yet? Where seeking clarity through dialogue is how we move. I'm in the building with Dub and Al. Al, how you feeling today, man?
Feeling great. It's May, bro. We're already halfway through 2025. Like, the year is done. So what are we going to do? Make moves.
Just about.
Sure.
You know, some of us making moves out the country. I mean, I made a couple already. I'm not bragging. Hopefully got a few more. You know what I'm saying? Trying to be out here. You dig it, Dub? How we feeling today?
Feeling good as well. You know, hey, look, travel is good for the soul. And you know what's also good for the soul? Going to the doctor and having your yearly checkups and just making sure that everything is on the up and up and everything is working the way it's supposed to, and you are you get a nice little bill of good health from the doctor. Is always a good thing. So take your behind to the doctor, men especially. We'll do a separate pod on that one a little later, but men, go to the doctor.
Indeed, men, black men, do your checkups, take your vitamins, pay attention, eh?
That's right.
And so, guys,
there's a real quick. There's a reggae song called "Night Nurse." Get you one of those too.
Night Nurse.
Oh man. Wait, hold on. Get you a night nurse. What about 2 night nurses? Wouldn't that make
night nurse.
or three night nurses? You know, they might be all specialized in different things to take care of you. So you might need more than one.
Are you poly, dog? What kind of poly?
No, listen. I don't recommend it. It may not be recommended, and it's not for everybody. I'm just saying. Listen, don't they say like behind every good man is a strong woman? So if you have 2 strong women, does that make you a better man? An even better man?
So you want you want the EN and not the AN. Instead of a strong woman, you want women.
Listen, I don't know. There's so many sayings out there now, and a lot of them contradict each other, you know, because I've heard less is more, you know, but my thing is, wouldn't logic say that, listen, if you're a great man because of a strong woman behind you, if you have 2 strong women behind you, would that make you a greater man? Wouldn't that? That doesn't make sense, no?
Cam Newton has entered the chat.
And he's then you can get T-shirts and put them in the water and let them fight. I don't know. What do we want to do? It's cool, bro.
Oh, yeah. Also, going to the doctor, drink your water.
Yes.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right.
Let's go.
Cam Newton / Neo as I failure to reach my water bottle.
Oh,
there's
man.
That thing right there.
Wait, is that a gallon? Is that a gallon?
I'm not saying I drunk a gallon a day, but that is a gallon bottle.
Listen, that's a goal, but that's why I have to drink it like, 6 or 7 of these at a time, because that gallon gets me.
Is that a product placement? What are we doing? No?
No, sir. We don't have any sponsors as of yet.
Okay, excellent.
But Pure Life, if you'd like to sponsor your boys, let us know. For Walmart, price has gone up a little bit, but it's water.
Tariffs, Trump.
Beautiful tariffs.
Oh man.
I think we do have a sponsor, Night Nurse Agencies. Feel free to give them.
Wait, hold on, Dean. What's the phone number?
Feel free to give them a call for all your needs.
Listen, on a serious note, fellas, you only need one. You only need one. If she's good enough, you only need one.
Night Nurse. That's a great vocal too.
I only recommend one for your own mental health.
Man, that is a nice cleanup job.
Thank you.
Epic, if I might say.
Hey, listen, just call me the cleanup man. It's called.
Speaking of cleaning up, this is a worst segue in human history. Speaking of cleaning up, I think it's apropos to have an NFL draft post-mortem, if you will, kind of looking how they did, how they didn't in some cases. There are some draft order discrepancies, some might say people were selected where they deserve to be selected. There's some division on that. And we can go to you first, man. What stands out? Like, was this like a normal draft, or was it overhyped without justification? I mean, what was your overarching thoughts on it?
I mean, one of the craziest things is that just seems like the talent level, especially at the quarterback position, keeps going down. You can't find quarterbacks that can sustain a decent career, carry a team. I mean, this year it was such a struggle. You look at the second best quarterback got picked, the 5th round?
Well, some people didn't think he was second best, though.
Ooh.
I don't know that talent-wise you can argue that he wasn't second best. I think there was some political stuff going on with that. Just, elephant in the room, Shedeur Sanders. I think he's proven over his career that
come to your right a little bit so the people can see you, Al. You're a little bit to your left.
He's proven over his career that he is quality. He has the arm strength. He has the mobility. There are times when I thought he quit on his squad, when he was losing. But I think from a standpoint of being in the game and just having the intangibles, the kid looked spectacular, man. His work ethic, maybe you got a question, but I don't know how you drop that far. I think Cleveland got a steal, and they may actually get a franchise quarterback cheap for about 4 years.
It's crazy. I mean, honestly, I watched pretty much every Colorado game. I watched every Miami Hurricane game. Shout out to Cam Ward. Tennessee Titans, they got them a good one. And they ended up getting Mr. Restrepo as a free agent, all-time leader in catches at the U. Man, it was very weird seeing that man go in the 5th. But Dub, I mean, tell me your thoughts overarching. What you think about this draft? Yeah, Dub, tell me what you thought about this draft overall.
Yeah, my bad. That's a little technical difficulties there. The quarterback position. I mean, and I'm glad that Al talked about the elephant in the room, because that was a huge elephant in the room. I remember I was coming back during the draft, and on the flight, someone was watching the draft on their phone, and every pick that went by, she was just flabbergasted that Shedeur wasn't getting drafted. But you knew once a certain team didn't pick him that he was going to slide. And so you have to ask yourself, man, how can the second best, or why did the second best quarterback slide all the way to the 5th round? It definitely had some other intangibles that got him down there. I mean, there were reports of him sabotaging interviews. I don't know if it's on purpose or that's just how he was in interviews. Reports about Dable checking him about not being prepared for the Giants interview. And then he got mad at the coach for being mad at him for not being prepared. You don't know what's true. You don't know, but there's a reason, or there are reasons why you look at the talent and you say, you know what, I don't know if I want this kid on my team. I don't know if I want this circus on my squad. And, eventually, hey, the Browns drafted him and about, 35 other quarterbacks for their squad. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know who's going to win that QB battle. But, hey, like Al said, probably got a great little franchise quarterback there. We'll see, for a still 5th round draft pick. We'll see.
I mean, he obviously has to pan out. And I think the motivation is going to be, you waited so long to get me. I'm going to prove to you, that I'm better than you thought. I like the Dable thing because I think he went in there and Dable threw some audibles at him in the film room. And he was a bit hesitant. He didn't know how to get into it. But can we counter this argument and say he's not the first quarterback coming out that wanted to dictate where he played, right? The other guys, correct. I mean, Eli Manning came out and, they weren't playing where they were drafted. Phillip Rivers, they had that big trade, and they both worked. It panned out. It worked out. I mean, Eli has his 2 chips. Phillip ain't got nothing. But the point is, he's not the first one to do it. So why this time did they decide to take a stand? That's just what bothers me. Obviously, we can go to the racial issue. We can go, I think again, for me, his attitude sucked, right? And I think the way he went about where he wanted to play, it's going to push a lot of teams away. So that may have done it. But I've seen where Jalen Carter, for example, defensive line, coming out of college, I think he was involved in some traffic offenses that were borderline criminal, I believe. And I got to go back and look at it. But he was still drafted where he was drafted because he was uber talented. And I think a lot of times the draft will bypass ills to still take you because of your talent level. This time, it wasn't the case. And I get it. Your quarterback is your brainchild, your franchise. He guides you, he drives you. But you're telling me you don't got a quarterback guru in your room that's going to get this guy right? That you can put a mentor on him and change his mindset? If you really think he was that good, because he wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? So it's one of those weird dynamics, man. And we know it's very political. And I think the owners got to get collusion is the word I probably use. But, we can never prove it.
Let me just push back on that real quick. Well, first thing, one of those quarterbacks that dictated where they wanted to go that you left off the list was the great John Elway, who won 2 Super Bowls, by the way, with the Denver Broncos. Snapped a 13-year winning streak by the NFC and won 2 straight and walked off into the sunset. We won't go any further. But
it's a nice way to go out. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, yes, he was on that list, and so I get it. What's the difference? You're right. Some teams will still draft you in spite of, but it's not many. Like, for instance, the Cowboys come to mind. The Cowboys, Jerry don't care. Jerry don't care. He gonna draft you, and the Eagles. But I don't know how many teams. Like, for instance, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they need a quarterback, right? But they don't strike me as the organization that will draft a player despite their ills. I don't know if they're that type of organization. I mean, look at all the receivers that have been traded. I mean, George Pickens lately, but he wasn't the only one. AB and Montavious Bryant and Chase Claypool. Like, they don't play that in Pittsburgh. They don't play that stuff. And so, that could be a reason why he got passed up in Pittsburgh.
It would have taken an overwhelmingly talented quarterback for them to do it. And I love Shador, but it's no secret. The athleticism is, his accuracy is unquestioned. Toughness unquestioned, in my opinion. But if it was a different type of a athlete with a body that they liked a little bit more, I think Pittsburgh would have done it. But just because, they're not going to get another Ben Roethlisberger. Those guys just aren't walking around. There's not a my man that just retired that went to Stanford that retired from the Colts. He's often a specimen. Andrew Luck. There's not a whole lot of those guys walking around draft to draft. We saw how many quarterbacks went out last year, and then we saw maybe half the amount of quality quarterbacks were in this draft. And so if there was that type of type and everything else, yes. But unfortunately, that just wasn't in this draft. But there you have it. Nevertheless, Cleveland got about 5 quarterbacks in that room. Pittsburgh still doesn't know what is now. The skill position room in Pittsburgh is like, ooh, that room looks nice. But who's throwing them the ball?
That's the problem. Hopefully it ain't Aaron Rodgers. But it's funny, ironically, I think head coach for Pittsburgh would have been the great equalizer for Shador. Tomlin is that guy, man. I think he would have commanded so much respect. I don't know that he's going to have that kind of guy in Cleveland that's going to keep him, he has to want it at this point. He has to be pissed off at being picked so low that he wants to come in and be better. I don't know that there's a guy in Cleveland that he's going to, look to like that. But we'll see.
Yeah, that chip should already be there. Like, Shador doesn't need any other extra motivation. I mean, and what's interesting too? People always talk about, like, how did this team do in the draft as far as like draft grade? What would you give a draft grade? To me, I don't know if you can really give a draft grade until 3 years later. Right. I judge the class 3 years after the draft. So, you got to give these quarterbacks time. And like, what happens though is you have quarterbacks like your boy from Houston. Why's his name escaping me right now? Stroud, CJ Stroud. You have CJ Stroud, man, that comes in and he hits the ground running. And then you have, I mentioned Bo Nix. He didn't have a great year, but he had a solid enough year to lead the team to the playoffs. I mean, defense had a lot to do with it, but he had a solid enough year. And so what's happening is they're thinking that and of course, my man, Jaden Daniels, who came in and had an amazing year. And so, people always expect this from all of the quarterbacks, rookie quarterbacks to come in the league and just light the world on fire first year, when that's the anomaly. That doesn't happen the most. So if Shedeur goes out there and stick up the joint the first round, it's going to be, all these teams were right. They're not going to give this guy the 2 or 3 years that I think everybody should be given. Well, I mean, except Will Levis.
Trash.
I mean, they went out. We got Cam right here. Let's just go in and right our wrongs right away. We can't do this.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at my Miami Dolphins, 2/3 of this group currently speaking Miami Dolphins, and evaluating their picks, we went shopping, and we did get a good mix of everything. Now, most people are going to go straight to Ewers from Texas. I knew from the beginning that there was not a Tua replacement in this draft, which is why I just didn't even talk about it, because there was no situation to where we would get a Tua replacement in this draft. But we got him, and he's there. I honestly don't really care. I don't. I am just not going to care until maybe Tua takes that first lick. Maybe I'll start to care then. But as of right now, I don't. So we got an offensive lineman, we got defensive lineman, we got a safety, we got linebacker, and we obviously got Ewers. And you know what? Can we just stay healthy? We know what we're going to do on the defensive end. He surprised me. The DC surprised me. We were top 10, top 15, most, if not the entire year. It was very much a bend and don't break type of defense. But the reality of it is, in this league, you got to put up points, and you need to rule time of possession. If we don't do those things, nothing else matters. It's just nothing else matters, because he did his job. The offense, not so much. And at times, yes, injuries, those were a factor. But time of possession, points. Just got to get it done. Got to. Your thoughts?
Speaking of safety, Jalen Ramsey is still a Finn, isn't he?
Yeah, but you have to imagine he's not going to be.
He's not going to be
on the
there,
roster.
Right?
Yeah, nah.
Right. So the guy that y'all drafted, is he going to come in and play right away? What's the? How many of your picks do you feel like can contribute? First year for you guys, and how much do you think is going to kind of have to sit and learn a little bit?
I think several, like O-line, D-line, and we got a linebacker. I mean, and I think we had about we kept 7. No, we kind of moved some stuff around, but I'd say about 3 of those guys in year 1, to be reasonable.
Right. I
think 3 of those guys.
I don't know, man. The NFL cornerback position has been such hit or miss. Guys who come in who you swear are going to be great, they come in, they're not that great, well, they're not consistent. But looking at a guy like Jason Marshall out of Florida, I mean, playing in the SEC toughens you up a bit. You hope that he can transfer that to the league. But we definitely going to need a strong corner, man, and a strong replacement at safety. So, Mr. Trader, looking forward to you, man. Come on in and do what you got to do, brother.
Who was that running back? Okay, that he came from Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State?
Actually, we didn't take a linebacker.
No, it was interior lineman that we took.
Yeah, we took a D-line and a safety. We took 2 D linemen. That's what it was.
Right.
Which
right.
I did that part. I didn't understand why we
actually had 3, man. I think we had 3 D linemen, nose tackle and two edge rushers, I think.
Yeah, but we got the guy from Michigan first, which I'm like, this is all I was hoping for.
Right.
Okay, Chris, Chef, please go and get the most elite offensive lineman available. We were like that first round. We were like a mid-round, 13th overall.
Correct.
That's prime position.
A good position
to get you a dog, just a mean nasty dog. And we
Dude, but that's
drafted a
always-
D tackle from Michigan. I said,
That's always been my
Jesus.
problem with Chris, man. Like,
Oh my
I don't ever feel like
Oh.
like the talent that's sitting there, gets looked at by us. It's almost like, oh, we're like what do you think those things the horses wear, the blinders? It's like we want what we want. We're gonna go get what we want, and nothing else matters. So I've got a guy who's like a 5-star sitting right there, man, and I'm gonna overlook him. I keep thinking we could have gotten Lamar Jackson years ago, right? Wasn't that a thing? And we got anyway. That's another conversation. But Chris, yeah, go get a dog, man. Go get a dog.
Yeah, and we'll see how the young man from Arizona plays out. I mean, round one seemed offensive lineman as a no-brainer to me. And we only got one. You only multiple got one? D linemen. Yeah. But one offensive lineman. I can't really put my brain around that. I struggle with that. Whenever I think about that, I'm like, we only got one. And I know there's other ways to acquire these guys, but just go get a dog. Prime opportunity to get a dog. The Broncos. How you thought your Broncos did?
Our draft overall wasn't rated highly by even our own fans. It started from the very first round because, leading up to the draft, we're going to get a running back. We want a running back. We need a running back. And you know what? Sitting there at 20, there were a couple of running backs that we could have taken. One of them being Amarian Hampton, and the other one being Henderson from Ohio State. But what happens? My Broncos did what I think you wanted. Chris, by the way, we mentioned Chris and Chef. For those who may not know, Chris Greer is the general manager of the Miami Dolphins, and Chef, they call him Chef Mack, is the coach McDaniel there for the Dolphins. So just for people who don't understand,
I might be the last person that's calling him Chef because sometimes he cooks up some hamburger helper, and I don't like it. It's not good for you. It's hot and you can eat it, but it's not good for you. I digress. Go ahead.
Well, we have Peyton and Peyton over in Denver. George Peyton, our general manager, and Sean Payton, our coach, and they both looked around and I think they did what you guys wanted Chris to do, which was just pick a dog at 20. Yeah, we need a running back. Yes, we need a running back, but there's a dog sitting out there at 20 who's high up on a lot of people's boards. And we just cannot let this dude go up, man. We end up picking up a corner, Jahdae Barron. And I mean, he's a corner, but this dude can play all over. So he's going to be like a Swiss Army knife. I remember, man, PS2 went down for a little bit. And then also our second cornerback went down for a while and we were getting toasted. I mean, Jerry Jeudy had a career game against us. We give like 300 yards to Jameis Winston, the Jameis Winston to Jerry Jeudy connection. And so they recognize, listen, we still have, a need for some depth in the secondary. So we went and got a dog, and we ended up getting a running back later on in the third round. So from UCF, go Knights, charge on, Mr. RJ Harvey. So, I mean, those are part of our two highlight picks. And I think he actually was a second round pick. I apologize.
Yeah.
But, we ended up picking up this big body, what seems like a Cortland Sutton replacement, possibly. I don't know. Receiver out of Illinois. I mean, we had a decent draft, man. I mean, it's okay. We drafted a punter. We needed one, but we drafted a punter. So I don't know how many teams draft punters, but we got one.
Hey, you see you see what's going on in Baltimore? Look,
yeah.
Let us not forsake special teams.
Yes, I mean, dude, when you have to draft a kicker. Because your current kicker is about to face off against Mr. Tony Busby. For those who don't know Tony Busby, he's the one that brings all these allegations. Hey, he defends. He brings these some are victims, some are not. But he's bringing the case. He brought the case against Deshaun Watson. He's bringing the case against Justin Tucker, and now old Unc Sharp. So yeah, they had to get a kicker.
Yeah. Hey, Barron just has to show up, man. Come humble to learn. I think he's got one of the best corners in the league to learn from. And if he's adequate, that defensive backfield is going to shut a lot of teams down, man. So I will tell you though that Patrick likes a challenge, and that's a guy in your division that
Oof.
y'all gonna have to beat. And to beat him, Mr. Barrett's gonna have to be on his A game for 60 minutes.
60
Even when he's on the sidelines, bro, he got to be in his A game, mentally ready. But I think for me that draft pans out better than my Fins, in the sense that we got the best that we needed and ended up getting what we wanted. And I think that's how you build a winning team. So I actually like that. I like the receiver out of Illinois too, man. He fights for a lot of balls in the air.
Well, do y'all think was this do you think was this Chris's last draft class that he's going to be choosing from if we don't have any success this year? And by success, I'm meaning what I'm thinking is success in Finn's country would be at least a playoff win at the bare minimum.
So if I can jump in and just say something before Dean answers with an articulate answer. Chris hasn't had success as a Dolphin.
Wow.
GM. And it's just, if you collectively look at it, I mean, has he gotten 1 or 2 picks right? Somebody has to. I mean, a clock is right at least twice a day, even if you got no batteries. And I think it's one of the things where, as a GM, man, you should be held to a much higher standard. And your job is to build a team that competes, and that's irrespective of injuries, because every team has injuries at the end of the year. And you just got to, you got to suck it up. Detroit, for me, look at Detroit, and even with injuries to their main players, man, they got to the championship game, they got to the semis, right? So, but still, you look at them and they had the best record. They were still able to compete for the whole season. The Dolphins don't have that, man. And I think at the end of the day, Chris has to be held responsible. And of course, the chef is next, and then whatever else we got to do. But Dolphins need some quality, man.
Yeah, Mr. Ross, if you can hear this, Mr. Ross, I just think that, as Dub said, we must get a playoff win. The biggest issue with us getting a playoff win is that dang 6'5" Joker up in upstate New York. He has been the boogeyman. He's the boogeyman. He might as well be called Boogeyman Allen, because he's the boogeyman. Said, all right, y'all, I'm out this boy. Boogeyman said, oh, my turn. I remember seeing him. We were playing Buffalo at home. This might have been 1. And I think it was the second game. The weather was a little bit cooler. This was the second game. And he hadn't learned how to throw it yet. Not really. He had the legs. He was just juking, 20-yard run. And then there was a couple glimpses where he just rifled it. And you saw the arm strength. From that day, I was scared. I said, this boy, he's as big as the D lineman. He's that big. That's not an exaggeration. He's like 6'5", probably walking around 250 or something like that. This is a large man. Ever since then, he has been kicking our ass so bad. Like when you look at how successful he is against us, it's just like he just sit down at the table with a tomahawk steak, baked potato, broccolini, and he just start. That's what it is when we play him. Every now and again, we can get a game up off him, and I mean every now and then. That's it. But he's been owning us. I'm a Dolphins fan, okay, for my entire life. He has owned us. He is our biggest impediment from getting a playoff win. It's not Mr. Glenn. I'm glad you're in New York. Big ups to you. It's not my man that just took over in New England, the linebacker dude. Well, he was a utility guy really in New England. He did everything. It's not him and his squad either. It's Boogeyman Allen. And so, Mr. Ross, they just got to find a way to get it done, or just start. Maybe we need to be in cap hell for a couple years, whatever it needs to be. But it needs to be now. It has to be now. Let's just get bad right away. That's all. I don't want to be just making the playoffs, backing into the playoffs. Let's just be bad right away. I'm sick of it. Honestly. Let's just get bad now.
Let me say a couple of things. First of all, Dean, I'm very disappointed that you called Josh Allen a large man. You didn't say pause. I'll let that one slide. I know Al don't really like that one. You get a mulligan on that one, but don't let it happen again because I will be coming through with the hey yo, what's going on? What's happening?
When I be seeing him truck our linebackers every now and again as a quarterback, I'm sorry, that's a large man. Pause.
So, and I think you said every now and again you would get Josh. I mean, I have to go back and check the record. Maybe I look it up right now, but I think Josh is like 13-1 against y'all. That can't go. That can't go. For the record, I just want people here to know this. It is a cardinal sin to be a fan of more than one NFL team. I don't care what anybody tells you. Oh, I'm a Bucks and a Kansas City Chiefs fan, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Listen, you cannot be a fan of more than one NFL team. Don't let anybody tell you anything. That's a cardinal sin. Where they do that at? However, with that being said, the Finns are near and dear to my heart because my dad's a Finns fan. My brothers here on this podcast are Finns fans. A lot of my family and friends are Finns fans, and they've been struggling with the championship. Like my Knicks, I mean, we weren't around. I wasn't around. My Knicks won the championship. Same thing with my Finns fans. So I like to see the Finns do well. And so, man, I thought Chris was doing a fairly decent job with the
moments.
But
it hasn't come together. We've had moments,
but listen,
moments is not going to get it done.
My thing is this: it's not Chris's fault that in the year before last, y'all had that 3-game lead on Buffalo, and y'all just needed one more win, and you would be hosting a playoff game versus going to cold Kansas City in -4-degree weather to go play Patrick Mahomes. That could have been your playoff win right there. But it's not Chris's fault or Stephen Ross's fault that you guys blew that 3-game lead for the division and ended up in the worst playoff seed.
There was some stuff happening towards the end of that year, though. When I had to look that up.
Chef Mac and his god awful coaching ability and lack of adjustments.
But
I digress.
That's in the pot, undoubtedly.
I'll say this: they both gonna go at the same time. If Chris is gonna go, I think Chris and Chef gonna go at the same time, and maybe even Tua. Y'all might get a 3-for.
Well, they paid them. They re-up too early, and I've been saying that they should have just gave it another. They just paid them too early. Now I imagine Ross did that to instill confidence and all that kind of stuff. I don't care about that. I don't care. No. Unless you've delivered already, I'm not giving you things early. Why am I giving you things early? I don't understand that.
I mean,
potential.
But listen. The whole quarterback market is off. The whole, we're paying you for having done nothing. Trevor Lawrence did nothing. How do you get a salary that is comparable to the best Patrick Mahomes? Like, how does that happen? I mean, Josh Allen at least gets you there. He just has to get over the hump. Joe Burrow got you there one time. He obviously has the ability to get you back. Those are different tier quarterbacks, man. I think there just has to be some kind of method to how this money comes out. You pay these guys now, they don't even work hard enough. Kobe Bryant said it, bro. It's not the money that drives you, and a lot of these guys, they work, they get the money, and that's it. They got nothing. But speaking of Kobe Bryant, man, how about these Knicks in this NBA playoffs? What is happening in the NBA playoffs?
Depends on who you're talking to. Is it we getting exciting basketball? Are we getting sloppy basketball? Is it a good product on the screen? It depends who you're talking to.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think this proves that Ime Udoka was probably a great coach in Boston, and this dude got handed a squad that he can't manage. Because there's no way in hell, bro, you get 2 games at home up by 20 plus and lose, and you make no tangible adjustments. and you have two of the best 10 players in the NBA on your squad, I could go on and on, but listen, this wouldn't have happened to Michael Jordan. This wouldn't have happened to Kobe Bryant. And in his prime, wouldn't have happened to LeBron on the right squad. You know how I feel about that, but there are a lot of players, man, who get in that situation, and there's no way they're gonna go down 0-2 at home to a squad that is not better than you. And of course, there's room for argument there, but just they're not better than you. And you go down 0-2 at home, man. I don't give a. See?
Whoa.
Yeah.
So at the time of this recording, yes, the Knicks have come back down 20 points on the road, back-to-back games. For those who don't know, I'm a Knicks fan. If you watch the pod, you already see my Knicks hat. I can go put my Knicks hat on right now. But anyways, that's
let the record show Jordan was down 2 games to the Knicks in '93 in the conference finals. But no one that we've deleted those things from history. We're not talking about it.
But guess what? No, because that one is still in my mind too. That's still fresh in my mind. I don't care if it's 93. I don't care if it's over 30 years ago. That's fresh in my mind, and that's why.
Hey, what happened though? Tell me what happened, Jason.
Yes,
yes,
exactly.
What was said is it would never happen, but it happened. That's all. That's all.
No, but what happened? No.
I'll qualify it in saying that. Yeah, okay. So we got down 0-2, but who on this squad scares you to where you actually think you can't win 2 out of the next 5?
That's a different question, and I respect that question.
I would say this,
but Jeffrey has been behind the 8 ball, but he's Jeffrey, and he's different. But he has been behind the 8 ball.
He's different, and he was different, and there wasn't a better basketball player than him. So, but because of that series and other series that Karl Anthony Towns have been in, where they won 2 games on the road and not losing that series, you can't get comfortable. You cannot get comfortable. Like you said, they got 2 of the best, 2 of the top 10 players on this team. And again, I am an objective Knicks fan. I will look this camera in the face and I will say, we do not have a better team than the Boston Celtics. We don't. We don't have a better team. But guess what? I think that Detroit series kind of put some kind of like this little grit into this team where we just feel like we're never under, we're never out of it. And they're going to keep fighting. And I can't believe I'm getting ready to defend the Boston Celtics here. But again, I'm objective. Okay. We won because Boston, I mean, of course, the grit and coming back, but Boston is shooting terribly from 3-point, right? And that's going to go factor into Al's point about how the league looks now. But right now, in the first 2 games, Boston has shot 100 3-pointers. 100. And they've made 25. So now let me say this, to give the benefit of the doubt to Boston, I have 2 points, and I'll let you guys sneak in. First point is, this is what Boston does. This is who they are. This is what they have done all season long. The only reason why it's a big deal now is because they're not making the shots. So now all of a sudden, it's a big deal. That's point number 1. Point number 2, my Knicks have one of the worst 3-point defenses in the league. We are terrible, and we have been terrible at defending the 3. And as quiet as it kept, we're still terrible at defending the 3. We still are. It's just that Boston has missed 75% of their 3-pointers. So if I'm the coach that Al just called out, and I see the Knicks are terrible at 3-pointers, and that's what we do, I'm going to keep shooting them and just hope that these boys can shoot themselves out of a slump. But as Pat Riley once found out, when he was dependent on John Starks to shoot himself out of the slump, Game 7 against the Houston Rockets in 1995. It didn't work, and so we did not win the championship. So I don't know. We'll see. Listen, I hope they keep missing the ones they chuck up, because they're not going to stop taking 3-pointers. I hope the basketball world understands this. It's who they are. They're not going to stop chucking up those threes. We just got to hope they keep missing them.
I get it, but my problem is, as a coach, right? You go 0 for 10 in a particular stretch. I think there was one sequence where the Boston Celtics missed 4 threes on the same offensive play. They got 3 offensive rebounds and missed 3s going into that. And my thought process is this, as a basketball player, is there not a better shot available in that sequence? Is there a cutter that can come through this wide open lane because everyone is so spread apart? It's basketball, man. Dude, the WNBA gets it, right? They play fundamentally sound basketball. People say, they can't jump, they can't dunk. That might be a good thing because at least they understand how to play the game below the rim, right? These guys are multi-millionaires. They get paid so much money to think differently. And we got guys on the park floor out here in any local city that could get in there and play much better than these guys look. And I get it. Nah, they can't do it. They can't make it. But you're telling me you're 25% in what you normally do, and nothing says let me adjust for a moment until it gets back to what I need it to be? I can't, man. I don't even watch them anymore, bro. It's a waste. It's a waste. It's a freaking waste, man.
I mean, but can they change though? I mean,
that was going to be my next point.
Boston,
of course.
Boston is leaving with the girl that they brought to the party.
Okay.
They're not switching girls.
That's right.
They leaving with that girl. They've been doing it the last 2 to 3 years.
Hello.
And they're gonna do it in May, and if they're lucky, in June as well. But that's who they are. They're not getting new stripes, and there's not really. This is not the Paul Pierce Celtics. Paul Pierce might have been like, "No, we're not doing this." KG would have been like, "Those guys don't buck really on the court."
Right.
These guys, they're very buttoned up. They don't really got that dog in them like that.
Yeah.
And they just gonna do what Missoula says. And I just can't expect them to, turn a new leaf in the middle of the playoffs, especially with Missoula. You ever see him just go up and down the sideline? He looks crazy. He looks like a crazy person. And I just be seeing him clapping and shout at them boys. I say, Missoula's crazy.
First of all, he sound like a pasta dish, dog. Like, I don't know what the hell's going on with that shit. Like, dog, somebody handed you a gold plate, like legit. All you had to do was manage it. Like, you didn't lose. You won one. Like, you come back this year with a plan in play. You got no alternative. You've got no adjustment. Like, how are you watching 2018, 17, 15? How are you watching it go down and you're not like, can I get a timeout? Let's waste all of them to figure this out. I don't understand. Like, as a coach, you're getting paid to think, and you're getting paid to help these players manage the game. That's your job. You got one job, and you're telling me you don't see. And it's not just Missoula, man. Like, you look at the Cleveland game. Oh, Sway, 5 points. With less than a minute.
Oh God.
And
7 really.
Dude, if you even hold the ball for 24 and you get a violation, you've elapsed 24 off the clock. You do it one more time, and you just stop them one time, game is done. And I'm not suggesting you hold the ball. I'm just saying, think about it. As I think it happened back in the 60s, man, where these little white squads were holding the ball away from everybody. That's why we got a shot clock. But I'm saying, hold the ball, throw it out of bounds, something. But how do you lose, bro? Like, what?
They got that classic case of watching the star. Oh, Spider Mitchell was dominating, hooping, and everyone was just kind of watching. To me, they just weren't engaged down the stretch. And little by little, Indiana was like, oh, nah, we're going to chip. And I was watching Hallie. I said, I noticed Hallie was kind of engaged, but he was kind of chilling. He was doing a little decoy thing. I said, I was just waiting. He's going to wait for his time. He was just lying in wait. These suckers think my broke hand, I ain't going to shoot it. Gotcha.
But that's what I respect about the old squads, man. You mentioned guys like KG, Paul Pierce, Mike J, Kobe. Like, even though those guys were dominating the game, the other guys knew, I got to stay ready. I got to be ready.
Yeah.
And if you look back at the history of those guys, like a guy like Big Shot Bob, John Paxson, those guys don't exist, without what the stars do in the middle of the game. And I think that's, for me, the difference in how those mindsets were. They got their players ready to be ready when they needed to be ready, if that makes sense to you. And nowadays it just seems like you said, I'm watching you. So when my turn comes, I can't do it because I spent too much time watching you. Like, aren't you a basketball player too?
This is kind of why I want Ant. I don't know how realistic it is. I really want Ant in a final. I really want to see what he's going to do in a final, because he sets the tone. He sets the tone. Those guys are starting to adopt how he approaches the game. He's a vocal leader. He's funny. He has the charisma. I want that in the final. We'll just kind of see how that pans out or what have you. But I would love to see Ant in the final because the stuff that's going on in Boston, he's going to be like, nah, yo, forget what coach just said. Let me get that real quick. That's what Ant going to do. Those boys, Brown and Tatum, they're not going to do that.
Well, let me say this. It takes 4 games to win a series. So this goes out to the Pacers and the Knicks and the Cavs and the Celtics. It takes 4 games. And again, we've seen 2-0 leads erased before.
Yeah.
So the series isn't over. So nobody should be celebrating like this, that the series is over. But, going back to that Cavs game 2 is what we're talking about. Yeah, man, there's a couple of box outs that they missed. They let Mathurin come in and on a free throw and, jump behind them and get a dunk off of a missed free throw. They missed another rebound. There was a turnover. There was an offensive foul on Donovan Mitchell. I mean, it was just like a perfect storm. Everything that could have went wrong for the Cavs went wrong in those last 60 seconds. And, you would hope that these guys who are injured will come back because that's the only chance really they're going to have, I think, to come back. But Holly, we talked about earlier in this episode, Shadur having a chip on his shoulder, being picked in the 5th round. Well, Holly's chip is coming from being voted number 1 overrated player, not by any sports analyst, talking heads, Stephen A. Smith, Charles Barkley and them. No, by his peers. His peers voted him number 1 overrated player. So
I think it's nasty work that even exists. I was voting on that. Y'all are real nasty for that.
Yeah. And so he has that chip. And so right now he's delivering this. I'm not a huge fan of him, but I respect what he's doing. He's taking that chip. He's hitting those shots. And last point, Ant, his coach called him out after game 1. Game 1, Buddy Hield had the best game. Buddy Hield was the leading scorer of the game.
NBA Jams. I thought I was watching NBA Jams.
Yeah. And so, Steph is going to be out for game 2. And, I put in our chat, I'm like, if you want to see Ant in the finals, Ant has to channel his inner Jordan and his inner LeBron. And anybody else that was clutch? Can't think of anybody else. But he has to channel his inner Jordan and his inner Bron. And he can't let Buddy Hield beat his squad 2 games in a row. He can't allow that to happen. He just can't do it. So he has to step up. His coach called him out. He has to set the tone. Oh, and his inner Kobe. Sorry, I always missed that one.
I was going to say Larry Bird, but Kobe's fine.
Man,
Bird, tell you what,
Bird had some games.
Bird had some games, bro.
I was watching some film of when he said, I'm going to play a whole game left-handed.
Yeah.
Have you seen those clips?
I've seen the clips.
I
watched that game. And he said he was going to do it, and he actually did it. Yeah.
Stuff like that makes my head explode. He said, you know what? I'm gonna save my hand. I'm going to just do this game with my off hand and kill you.
Yeah.
Bird talked a lot of shit, boy. Bird, what did Bird tell Barkley? I think Bird was telling Barkley, man, get this dude off me. This dude cannot guard me. I don't know who they're talking about. But Bird talked a lot of shit, man. He talked a lot.
But you know what I love, though? The difference between then and now is that those guys, when they talk, the shit they talk, it was funny at the moment, but it was real in the game. Like, you're watching this happen, you're like, damn, like, he said he was going to do it, and this dude can't stop it. You know what I mean? And no matter what you do, you're getting cooked. The real chef, you know what I mean? Hey, but one person who is happy about Indiana, bro, being up 2-0 is Halliburton's dad. He's some kind of enforcer, man. Like, he want to fight somebody.
Y'all leave my daddy alone.
Y'all let my daddy go to the game no more. Until your daddy stay off the court. Like, I don't know.
And you know who's happy that the Knicks are up 2-0?
Who that?
Nia Long.
Man.
I'm not going to touch that.
I wanted Ime. I know I just said I wanted the Wolves in the final. I wanted Ime in that final. Ooh. Could you imagine? I don't care who he's playing. I don't care if it's, I would have liked to be Boston just for that. But whether it's the Knicks, whether it's whomever, the Cavs, but for him to get into a final, it just would have been so amazing just to cap the last couple years. It's not just this year. Last year, he was like, hey, y'all, I'm here. I can coach. This year, look what he did. So,
it's amazing, man. Like,
do you think that so real quick before we, last question for you guys. Why did Ime lose that series? Was it youth? Is the fact that it's Steph Curr and the experience? Because I mean, it went 7, and I mean, they just wet the bed that 7th game.
His star didn't show up. His star did not have a consistent 7 games.
You talking about Thompson or
not Thompson?
Jalen Green?
Green. Yeah. To me, Green was so inconsistent, man, and it wasn't even consistent to where it was like manageable. Like, he was either really, really good or he was just terrible, and he didn't offset whoever was guarding him. So obviously, in this case, you're looking at the guard matchup, and it would be Curry. And Curry, listen, when you're good enough to play the game, and scare a team without scoring, like, you've made your mark. Stephon Curry, man, like, he for the first 2.5 quarters. He sucked in terms of, you would say, his personal stats and his ability to his contribution. But if you watch the game, his contribution was him being physically present on the court, and he forced your whole defense to shift. And at no point did Ime say, "Wait a minute, let me play him one up, and cover everybody." Like, he shifted everything, and Buddy was Buddy. You know,
I think when the game, it obviously went 7 games. When the margin is that small, someone's got to take the game. You just can't be like, I got it. I got here, so now I got it. Nah, you need someone to give me that joint. That's why I know the whole playoff Jimmy thing is kind of like whatever. Jimmy, going back to that bubble year and the year after, he was taking it down the stretch. He just wasn't like letting it happen. It's like, oh, we made it. We're here. Nah, he was like, nah, let me go try to steal the ball. Let me go try to block the ball. Let me go dive for this ball over here. I'm not going to shoot it. I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it to the hoop so I can get fouled. Maybe get the other wing guy out of the game. Like, you got to have that, especially when the margins are small. And it was in that series. Right. So,
and you could argue, if you put Jimmy on that Houston squad, they win that series. Hands down. You know what I mean? So they just needed that one. Dylan Brooks was not that guy. Like, Dylan Brooks is a vet, but he's not a vet. You know what I mean? Like, he's too much of an anomaly, or too much of, he's just got too much issues mentally, man.
You can't rely on him. You can't rely on him.
Yeah. And I think had they had that one guy who could steady him when the ship was kind of coming off course, it would be much better for him, man. But, hey, Ime still did a great job. And I think next year you'll look at a squad that's going to be ready to compete in the West. And need one great player added. Let's make it happen. But personally, man, I just think the game is the talent level. They're very athletic. People argue about the talent level being high. I think they're athletic. They're very athletic. They can jump. They can whatever. But they can't shoot consistently. They got no mid-range game. And they can't get to the hole because they're scared to get hit.
Mid-range? What's that? What's mid-range?
Like, what is that?
What is that? Yeah. Is that some old monolithic, hold on. Let me see if I can find my Bible and see if I can find what mid-range is,
Them boys be in the paint. I'll be seeing them run out of the paint to get to that arc. I'm like, where you running right now to go? And you'll just see them. They're going right to the arc. Talk to me about the WNBA. We've seen the engagement, the excitement kind of, rise quickly over the last couple of years. Obviously, we know what Angels meant. We know what Caitlin has meant. Skill wise, what are you saying as far as the skill set from the current WNBA players?
Man, listen, I think it's a more of a head game. I watched a preseason game with the Fever the other day, and the ball hit at least 7 people in one possession. There's hardly a time in an NBA game consistently where the ball is moving like that. Like, typically a guy gets a ball and he's sitting there. Harden, he must dribble. He's like MD, man. He's just
dribble the air out that boy real quick.
He's just there. And I watched the game. It's crisp, man. If you're not good with your rotations, you're not going to be able to play good ball in the WNBA. They got a girl like Paige coming in, Paige Beckers, man. Her shot, she reminds me of what's that slow dude in the NBA, man? Luca and the guy and Anderson,
Joker.
Where
Okay.
they get their shot. It looks slow, it looks awkward, but she gets to her spot whenever she wants, and she just understands what you're gonna do before you do it. And and I just love the chess game of the WNBA, man. It's good to watch.
Yeah, and this sounds weird. I'm not being weird. She really uses her body really well because she's got length. Is that strange? I don't know. Whatever. She's got length, and she knows how to use her body as a shield and manipulate it to set up her shot. Like, I really do enjoy watching her play. And like you said, there being no dunking the basketball, it's kind of a cool thing in a way, because you're like you said, you're seeing the ball move from side to side a certain way. You're seeing the schematics of the game being executed a certain type of way, and you're like, wait, hold on a minute. Why don't we see? Why have we gotten away? I know everyone wants, like, the only time we'll see a dunk, not the only time, we're gonna see the little alley and we're gonna see the breakaway dunk. But not a lot of guys are like aggressively going to the hoop like that. They're just really not, and even if they start to do it, they're gonna start kicking it for three. But when you watch it in the W, you're watching, like you just said, everyone's touching the ball. People are cutting. There's not people just standing there taking pictures like, oh, I wonder what she's doing over there. Right. I'm just gonna stand over here and watch. You don't really see a lot of that.
And it's funny you say that, man. I know Dub got something he want to probably add here before we get out of here. But look at a guy like Joker, man. The European players understand it. They play such a fundamental game, and they set you up. If you watch a lot of these baseline cuts, man, LeBron gets it too, man. If you watch a lot of these baseline cuts, these boys that are moving without the ball on the squad, because the guy who has the ball has the ability of breaking a defense down and getting it to you. That's basketball. It's in the simplest form. And I can't understand for the life of me why when they get to this level, they forget how basketball is actually played.
Well, shout out to Mr. DeMar DeRozan, because he's probably one of the few, if not the only one. I won't say the only. I got to think hard. But he might be one of the last. Oh, and Kawhi, yeah. The dying breed of the mid-range jump shooters. I mean, really. Yeah. And this is going to be a biased comment, but one of the best mid-range shooters I've ever seen. One of Mr. Allen Houston for my beloved Knicks, but he was king of that mid-range, boy. But
he was nice.
WNBA, man.
Glenn Rice, man.
Glenn Rice. Yes, Glenn Rice. Boy, Glenn Rice used to shoot that. Man, Glenn Rice was a shooter, boy. Yes.
Jamal. I'm just gonna throw in Jamal. Just respectfully, Jamal Mash. Crawford too. I'm saying Jamal Mash. I'm being a homer, but whatever. It's fine.
Well, I would say this before we get out of here. So I don't want to start this controversy up again, but so first of all, the WNBA has always been here. And again, Candace and Cheryl, Lisa, Dinah. These women have been here. We get it.
Shout out to Dawn Staley one time.
Oh yeah, Dawn. Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah.
Maya Moore.
Listen, Asia's been dominating. So it's been here. I will just say that whole Caitlyn Angel thing kind of I elevated it. It took something that was already there. It gave it a couple of doses of steroids. Listen, for what it's worth, people love controversy, and there's people love like this hope, like this, hey, this lady's gonna come in here and change the league. And so
it was like a dumb rap beef almost, in a sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So here's the thing. Yeah. When Caitlyn came along, records were being set for viewership. That's just the bottom line. We don't have to sugarcoat this. We don't have to get into any type of politics. The bottom line is this: when Caitlyn came on board, she set records for viewership. That's just the bottom line. Most watched WNBA and NBA game, her first game. So you got her and Angel, and then you got Paige coming on, and then please rest up well, baby girl. You got Juju coming later.
Oh yes,
dude.
Hey,
The league is looking bright. The league is looking, again, it's always been here, but man, these women, oh boy.
They hoopers, man.
Yeah.
Hoopers. Hey, another point to make about this whole Caitlyn thing, man. They played a preseason game in a college town, and the average ticket price was $700.
Wow.
It's a preseason game against a sorry Brazilian women's team, and the ticket price was $700.
Wow.
You got it.
Weren't they like in the field house like most of the year?
They were selling out the big NBA stadium,
which is like, whew, that's not easy, man. But they was packing that boy out
because the NBA squad wasn't selling them out. They're doing it now. They wasn't selling them out.
Yeah.
Listen, when you see men wearing WNBA jerseys, we know. I mean, I've never seen a man wearing a WNBA jersey before last year, me personally, but I see him now.
Fact. Yeah. But, yeah.
I honestly, it's only a handful. Like I remember when old girl from the Sparks, Lisa Leslie. I remember those. There was a moment when they were really rocking it. I think that's also just because it was like LA as well. Big sports market, that type of thing. There's been little moments. Still, Skylar Diggins had a little moment where it's like, oh, woo, you know what I'm saying? But this, with Caitlyn and the Fever, that is a whole nother level stuff. Like literally, it was the hottest ticket in town. It was like Beyonce was in town every week. Like, I know that's an exaggeration, but you get my point. It was insane. It was insane. Well, we're over an hour. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for joining us on Are We Clear Yet? We talked a whole lot of sports today, but we also kind of mixed in some other things. We're so thankful that you joined us on this episode. And from the two of my brothers in the room, we'll catch you next time. Later.